Once Human is getting its brand new patch 1.4, I'm going to break down everything inside the new patch. We'll also cover some additional changes that you might not know about, including some things around the female characters. There's a brand new set of Twitch drops and events, and a new deviation that we finally did speculate, as well as some last minute mentionables. We got a ton to talk about. What's up, world? It's Utopia back in with another video today. We're checking out all things Once Human. Okay, so let's just jump into the patch notes for 1.4. These are insanely long, so I'm going to break them down to you as simple as possible. That way we're not here all day just reading patch notes. So first up here, the update is actually dropping tonight, depending on your time zone. So at 8 p.m. PST is when the maintenance is going to happen, and that's going to last for 2 hours. Now that will take us to 10 p.m. PST, so technically in Pacific time, it will actually be considered January 15th. While if you are CST, that's going to be at 10 p.m. for the maintenance time, and EST will be at 11 p.m. So those will conclude into January 16th technically. Again, they do say it could last up to 2 hours longer or even shorter. I'll try to update you guys with a pinned comment when the servers actually do go live. Now they do mention that this patch focuses on new gameplay, content, and fixes based on community feedback. Where first up we have the brand new key feature. Now you might see some different references here for the names overall. However, in the China client this is called the Visional Roulette, and in NA it's called Visional Wheel. Now they do go over the concept for this Visional Wheel, which is a multi-dimensional anomaly creating unique game scenarios. So visional scenarios. The first cycle, so what we've all seen so far, is the Lunar Oracle. That's going to be from January 16th all the way till April 24th, where a Crimson Moon will trigger sanity loss and buff deviance. So that is going to be that event period there. Now the gameplay impact overall will be falling sanity, new resources, exclusive crates, and modified combat. Now there is actually a schedule for this new event, where January 16th, again, all the visional scenarios will be open, Lunar Oracle goes live. February 13th is a Season 0 exclusive event called Crimson Moon, where you have a chance to get exclusive skins for that. Does seem like those might actually be free this time. So for once, we are actually going to be getting potentially free skins. That's other than Twitch drops, of course. March 13th is Lunar Oracle gameplay is upgraded as a mysterious shadow appears. Now, I went over this in my last video. Someone did talk about that, as I do believe the China client has been actually testing this scenario. And they do mention that Way of Winter, seriously, is just way too hard to deal with this endgame mechanic here. Not that I'm saying you should, but this comment did say that you probably should avoid Way of Winter. With the combination of this endgame boss and the combination of winter and all the weather effects in the heat zone, probably should just avoid Way of Winter for now, unless you want a serious challenge or just more of an annoyance. Every time I do run my polls, everybody always picks Way of Winter as the most highly voted one. I'm actually not the biggest fan of this scenario. I've tried it twice at this point, but if you do like it, I totally understand that, although for this one, I might actually avoid it. Now, of course, as they mentioned earlier, you will have sanity loss all the way down to 20%. Of course, there's going to be some mods and equipment that will help deal with that. When they do go over those content additions, there's going to be some unique weapons that we'll go over in a second, armor, mods with buffs tied to HP combat stats. Of course, they mentioned in the wilderness, there's going to be Berserk Deviants, new elites, resource crates, and even hidden items. There's going to be a new seasonal feature here called a Wish Box, where you can transform stored items, and special prize pools for legendary items. We'll go over that seasonal feature in a bit. And we also are getting that gender change option via metamorphosis tokens. Again, more information on the gender stuff in a bit as well. Now, enemies that do go berserk will grow more aggressive and deal increased damage. There's also going to be unique elite enemies that will appear in settlements. Now, there's some really cool details here with both Prime War and Stronghold Conquests. So basically the Manibus and the Evolution's Call scenarios. The game mode will also be affected by the anomalous vision. So in these modes, a Chaos Weaver will spawn and descend during a Lunar Oracle, and the region will be affected by both Lunar Oracle and the blizzard or volcanic storm. So some weather effects there and other crazy things that will happen during these PvP and PvE experiences. They also say to combat these challenges, you'll be able to mix different gear, mods, deviations, and dishes, and also medicine. Of course, speaking of mods and equipment there, we do have those brand new weapons, Critical Pulse, Primal Rage, or Scourge of Rage, and then in this case, Hazardous Object, which is just a pistol that does explode. We've gone over all those. I do have a detailed video on that if you want to check out all that overall, although I have gone over these weapons several times. Of course, we do have a new unique armor that will gain limited ammunition after dealing power surge damage, and a new set that's going to help with mitigation, also sanity loss of max HP, granting buffs to weapons and status damage. and you even gain a shield when your HP is too low. And they also mention here when your HP is below 70%, you'll gain a buff to weapons and status damage. This definitely will help during those events. Probably want to swap to that gear set when those happen. There's also a bunch of different mods to help with this that do help with the lunar affixes in general. And of course some damage buffs. Again, I go over all the mods in another video. There's no point to redirect on those. We also do have some cradle changes here. Again, my video from yesterday goes over all the cradle changes if you want to check those out. There are a ton. They've removed a bunch of cradle things and added new ones. Some new combo sets. They've even added some more bullet damage. They've nerfed a bunch of things. They've taken things that did 25% damage down to 15% damage. So we are getting some nerfs overall with cradle. Again, I'll leave the image on screen here. If you do want to pause and look over all of those, you can do so. And these are no longer translated from the China client. With this update, we're getting a ton of new cosmetics. And I mean, they've shown off a lot. This is probably the most they've ever shown off. This is also going to tie into the Spring Festival. But the first one here is a loot box, which is the limited time Frost Shade set, which they are putting that SUV skin in the loot box. The one that we did showcase the other day, but now you can actually see the skin. They're also bringing back the Pyroglade, so that original loot box that came out, they are bringing that back. That's going to return on January 27th. We're getting a epic territory pack called the Rocky Fun Collection and Fine Fashion Set Gale Bolt, which will be there after this update. And then for next week, January 23rd, they're doing the epic fashion set Party Icon, which does include the theme pack Wild Feast, as well as a material pack called Florex Cabin. You can see the combination here with those skins and their environment details, as well as this material pack for housing. It does look pretty good. You can make a log cabin now. Now, subsequently, January 30th, they're doing another fashion set called Snowbound Chick and an epic theme pack called Over Limit. Also going to be a furniture pack tied to this called Sunlight Bliss Bedroom, where you can make your bedroom and spice it up a bit there. Still 2 more cosmetics to go over subsequently on February 6th. There's going to be an epic fashion set called Heat Storm, which shows off some baseball uniforms, so they are kind of playing into that. Looks like also with the previous one, the snowboard, so they are kind of playing into some sporty themes overall now. And then they also are including the Fine Wallpaper Dreamland Wallpaper Bundle, which also has a theme pack here where you can actually make a pool now. People kind of have made self-creation of pools. You can actually do that now in the game. With that, though, there are going to be some free cosmetics here. So from January 16th to February 23rd, there will be a Spring Festival, which will have free cosmetic, recipes, and special challenges like parkour and racing, where you can unlock over 10 cosmetic and furniture items. There's going to be 2 exclusive deviations, 3 Spring Festival recipes, all for free. And there's also going to be an additional 10,000 Star Chroms, so quite a lot there for this next event. And they do go over here where if you log in every week, you can earn cosmetics. There's going to be Wild Wish Party, which is a festival new look for the Spring Festival, and the Eternal Land Carnival crates are back, plus a challenging carnival parkour event. There's also going to be a weekly race. Spring is a season for laughter and travel, and they went under the influence of the Lunar Oracle. Vehicles in the event seem even faster, so you can embark on some open world racing. There's also going to be a Lunar Oracle challenge event for dungeons, where you can delve into some combat things, and then Spring Festival Lucky Painting, where you can collect Spring Festival themed events, where there is a New Year's painting that you can decorate your home with, and a Festival Lucky Bag. They also do mention there's going to be daily gifts, so starting on the first day of the Spring Festival, new gifts will unlock each day leading up to a grand gift of the day for the Lantern Festival. Just absolutely insane. There are a lot of events happening over the next coming weeks. Now, there has been a ton of balance changes. Prior, the China client showed, and the China client patch notes did show that the Kuma Wink was actually getting nerfed, that bounce in general was also getting nerfed. However, they canceled those nerfs, and they just went ahead and changed the description here from this complex little segment here, where they went over here and just said bounce gets a plus 75% damage increase. Now, the Pyro Dino did actually get nerfed from 300% explosive damage all the way down to 240%. And they also mention here that a player's PSI will determine the Pyro's damage. They do say that a damage of a Pyro level 5 is 1200% PSI intensity. So we did get a bit of a nerf there to Pyro and more explanation on it overall. We also did get a little bit of a buff to Little Jaws here. Precision Bounce also did see a pretty decent buff here from 50 to 125%. There's also some smaller changes here, but nothing too crazy on that front. Additionally, we did see some movement speed caps. They have knocked a few of those down. Of course, they said that teleportation mechanics have been adjusted, where you can now teleport from a tower to your base with no cooldown. And if you did take part in a public crisis event, you will now have your teleport cooldown reset. They have also made some lighting tweaks for characters, so now characters will have some better lighting overall, especially pertaining with the environment. Another major change here is to dungeons, where they now have added a hidden loot crate to securement cells that can be opened with controllers. Inside Securement Silos, mysterious deviations will keep spawning. You can then defeat them to reveal all the hidden loot containing mods, weapons, energy drinks, or Stardust Source. So a bit of an additional thing there. They do showcase in this element here that a wheelchair is floating, so I do assume that is the hidden crate. They've also optimized the item transfer process when depositing items into the vault or space-time backpack. Items with the lowest value will be replaced first. Now, there's a ton of other bug fixes that address issues with combat, cosmetics, scenarios, and more. We also had some UI enhancements, better stat displays, trade filters, and streamline, again, item transfers. They've also improved communication and faster bug fixes with transparent balance fixes and balance updates to meet players' expectations. Again, there is a ton of bug fixes here. I would be here for an hour reading all of these. If you do want to check them out, I will include a link to this post down below. And we do have to talk about that new deviation. This is sort of like a mystical loot goblin, but of course we've seen this before. This is actually just the Morphic Crate. This is Deviation 0060 Wishbox. It is a special type here, or a special type of Morphic Crate. Basically, it has a material reconstruction effect. When you drop a suitably sized item into its crate, it will close the lid and enter a low energy state, being completely unresponsive. However, on the hour, every hour, the lid will pop open and the item inside will be transferred into something new. Now, this Wishbox is a unique territory-based deviation with its own independent storage space. They say here that if you own a Wishbox, you've got yourself a never-ending supply of goodies. So how do we get this new deviation? They said on January 16th, you can grab your own Wishbox from the Stellar store. There's a chance to snag one from other Morphic Crates, so don't miss out to secure your little Wishbox today. Which, yeah, technically it is today for if you are in PST, and tomorrow if you are in any other time zone. So pretty cool, there we are finally getting a brand new deviation, and my speculation from before was right. Now quickly, there is some additional things here with the gender swap. So if you do change to a female character, they are adding a ton of new features here. Now they made this very cheap to do so. In fact, it will only cost 1 Metamorphosis token. So you can buy a full cosmetic change basically for free. So you won't need to repurchase any outfits or do anything. Of course, all your outfits will fix and work with this new gender, whichever one you do want to swap to. And as I said before, it's only going to cost 1 Metamorphosis token, so you can only get 1 per account though, so do be wary on that, as you won't be able to use this on any other character. You can only use it on 1 character, and it is 1 per account. Typically, you either get 1 for free when playing the game, or it does cost 880 Chrysogen. And they do showcase off the optimizations here for the character poses and posture fixes. Now again, this does just pertain to the female. Hopefully they do have some male changes. I know people do want some better male stances, but they have some enhanced effects here when they're sitting and when they're sleeping. They've also added, again, those lighting tweaks there, but I did go over those already. And they've also refined several details here with the outfits. So now you can use fishnets with certain shoes and without them, and the stockings will work the same as well. So a bit of a visual upgrade there for those cosmetics. Last up here, we do have the Twitch Drops event. So they are dropping Twitch Drops today or tomorrow. This actually will launch a little bit after the update, 4 AM PST. So these won't be at the exact time of the seasonal launch. So there is a new Cradle Charm, a new Weapon Sticker, and Weapon Charm. There's also a brand new emote called Elegant Guest, and they are giving away these Serpent's Hold gloves. I do believe these were the same gloves given out at release if you did pre-register. Not exactly sure, they do look somewhat similar though. Again, you will need a combined 4 hours of watch time to collect all of those. However, for the Cradle Skin Rocky Charm, you will actually need to gift a sub to a streamer in order to unlock that Cradle Skin, but everything else can be collected for free. Overall though, that should cover everything and encapsulate everything we're getting during this Lunar Oracle event and Visional Wheel. Hopefully that deep dived into all of it. Overall, that should about cover for today's video. If you like and subscribe, and until the next one. Deuces.